What's up, YouTube? It's Knowledgeable Nick. I was just thinking about this phrase in Proverbs: do not awaken love or do not awaken desire before it's time. And I've been talking about attachment and passion and how those things can really distract us from the journey of success. And I think that this phrase right here is incredibly key, specifically since I just watched a video where it says, be careful who you attach to emotionally. It may take up to 8 years. It may take 8 years to eliminate those feelings. All right. And we have those feelings. You know, sometimes you've made that mistake. I've made that mistake. And it was just a lack of knowledge. You know, I didn't know. I never heard that before until recently. But the thing is, we each have a life and a path, and fighting through feelings like that or transmuting those feelings and channeling them into something else like a YouTube video or music are ways we can deal with that. So the thing is, the more attached we are to that person's behavior and maybe something that didn't work out, whether it's romantic or not, that's just eating up mental capital that prevents me from being successful. And the thing is, sometimes it's good if you've already, so to speak, awoken desire before it's time. Because there is a time that maybe that desire will happen. But the thing is, we need to separate our emotions of wanting that from now. We need to let that go now, and you can have it later, okay? It's delayed gratification. And whether that is sexual, having, sexual relationships, maybe it's just having, maybe you have some sort of desire that is just to have children someday. Maybe it's to be a fucking baller, whatever that is. The more we get emotional with that, the more we awaken that desire and try and be passionate about it now, it's going to prevent us from getting to that. And it's good to be excited, and it's good to have dreams. But ultimately, the process to success is paved with loneliness and failures. And if you want to be a diamond, figuratively, there's a lot of pressure. You have to diamonds are caused because of the pressure. That's why they don't crack. See, most people are going to crack under the pressure, and they're going to allow things to derail them from their successes in life. And I am not diminishing some of the pains and struggles that people go through, because I am right there with you guys. But how do we deal with those? Sometimes relationships don't work. You just got to say goodbye, and it just goes on, Sometimes relationships were never meant to work out. Sometimes people are in your life for a season, a reason, or a lifetime. A reason, a season, or a lifetime. And those times that you spent with them in the season or the reason help you go along in your journey. But you just have to realize that maybe that's a temporary thing, even if it's sad at the time. And sometimes we can diminish those feelings. Sometimes we can try and replace those feelings with somebody else. Get a new bitch at the strip club. No, I'm just kidding. And then sometimes those feelings just don't go away, and maybe they're a good thing, so you can transmute that into art. You can transmute those feelings into art and creation, and maybe those are the driving force, the motivation that gets you through. You know, sometimes those connections were a short-term thing, and they come back at a later point in life. I've seen people that, you know, were in love with each other, and 10 years goes by after they break up and they go down different paths, and somehow life just brings them back, you know, when they just let go and just chose to be the best version of themselves. So letting go is a key part of success. But as long as we're learning from that, okay, so now I have this new emotion. So I was just talking to my brother about this. When you have an emotion, you can never hide from it. Everyone wants to hide from their emotions. They want to suppress that feeling that they have. I think those are there to guide you. I honestly do. And if I'm trying to get chopped or hide or run away from that feeling, maybe that feeling is a good thing. Maybe that feeling is an opportunity for growth. There's a Tonight Alive song that says, this is not a punishment, it is a catalyst for growth. This is not a punishment, it's a catalyst for growth, is one of the lyrics. And maybe that's what all of these things are. Maybe I would never be on here making these videos if I didn't go through immense emotional suffering. Because it made me, it eliminated my impurities that I had in certain areas. And phrases in the Bible, it talks about God as a refining fire, and is basically molding you into pure gold, or is a wine press that is squeezing squeezing the imperfections out of you, or squeezing out just the good stuff, getting rid of everything except the good stuff, maybe. And it even says things like pruning. Jesus says, I am the vine and you are the branches. If a branch does not produce good food, if a branch does not produce good fruit, it is cut off and thrown into the fire. And I'm starting to think like all of those things are connected, okay? I have and even think about this from a psychological level, okay? Neurologically, when we talk about switch on your brain and neuroplasticity, link in the description for this book. Neuroplasticity, all of those neural connections are like branches, and some of those need to get cut, and new branches can grow. When you want a tree, my dad has a evergreen in the backyard, and he cuts Pruning it, if you do not prune the tree, it grows thin and scraggly. But if you prune the evergreen, it grows full, lush, and into a nice, beautiful, full tree. But you have to continuously you prune it like once a year during its beginning stages of growth, especially cut the top right off so new growth can go up, and it actually fills up very nice and thick. But if you don't do it, it grows very thin and uneven. So all of these things that are happening in life, the way trees grow is just a metaphor, a learning example of, hey, be like that. Be like that, okay? Some of those branches that you have inside of your brain need to go. Some of those thoughts need to go. You need to rewire your brain. You're not a victim of your biology. Those toxic thoughts, maybe those fearful thoughts, maybe it's like, oh God, I would like to have a nice relationship someday. I would like to be in love, but maybe I'm just scared to do anything about it. Maybe you're just hiding from your dreams. I heard this quote, most people aren't scared of failure. They're scared of their dreams actually working. But the thing is, how are you ever going to know until you try? How are you going to ever know until you take a step? You got to take some steps. You got to learn. If there's anything I want you to know about this incredibly insightful talk, is take a look at XX Energy drink in the link in description.